Well, welcome everybody. Be sure to hit the like button. Be sure to hit the subscribe button.
I remember in middle school when you felt self-conscious if you were the last one to go through puberty. That really went topsy-turvy, didn't it?
Sometimes the Hasbara, it's too much explaining yourself and it's too apologetic.
Be sure to hit the notifications bell.
I actually do believe Israel won't just bomb countless civilians.
Be sure to tweet this out. Be sure to put this up on your Facebook.
You have to be kind to people. Being kind is the guys in this mess in the first place.
Put this up on your Reddit.
Chile is a country.
Be sure to cut and paste, a link to this to go into your favorite Facebook chat group.
It's good to see so many normal people in here.
Now, spanking isn't just my deep, dark personal secret. It's America's deep, dark secret.
I've never seen it explained so simply anywhere.
Put this on WhatsApp. Put this on Telegram. Put this on your favorite messenger app.
Hello and welcome to the Untitled Anarchist Seagull channel. I'm your host, an Untitled Anarchist Seagull called Elise. And we are once again on a Friday. How's everybody doing? I see I have not actually scrolled down to the bottom of my massive, catacomb of shitty videos to look at, but I did want to link you to a good one that I just saw. It's an interview on the channel of Jadalia. John Elmer. Here we go. Which, incidentally, a great channel for anything to do with, MIDI. I mean, I haven't really watched the YouTube channel, but before they were a YouTube channel, they were a website, and it was a great place for Mideast politics stuff in general. Great and generally excellent analysis. And so Muin Rabbani was interviewing John Elmer of the Electronic Intifada, who does their weekly resistance report. And it was just it was a great interview. It got into a whole lot of ground, and just definitely well worth watching. So if you have a chance, definitely it's worth checking it out. Now, we've got all kinds of bullshit to look at here. Some really wild shit showed up in my my recommendations. Now, let me see. I mean, of course, there is still a fair bit of Caleb Muppet telling everybody not to be normal. But if you remember, the creepy Zionist, stalker, racist, asshole professor at, I think, Columbia, who tried to play the victim at the same time as he was, stalking anti-racist activists and stuff. Well, on a channel I've never heard of called Radical Lifestyle, Shai Davidai, the creepy racist stalker professor, is apparently going to talk about the assault on college campuses. I have not looked at this and I've never heard of the channel. I assume that's what's going on. If not, I don't know. Then we've got Graham Linehan, the guy who decided to end a career where he was actually quite well thought of for various beloved TV comedies by becoming an obsessive transphobe. And he's going to remember Magdalene Burns, the TERF who literally there are only two, J.K. Rowling's favorite TERF, whose whole thing is, A, she just said horrible things about people, not even in a particularly eloquent way, it was just nasty shit, and B, she's dead. Also, she was really anti-Semitic, and all of these things endear her to Graham Linehan no end. So we've got that. Let me see. We've got CEO blames employee for his own mistake. A Darman bonus. Like, so I guess the idea is that supposedly it's considered a prize if you have more shitty Dharma content. I would have thought a bonus in that case was more of a when there was less of it. We've also got transgender activists rejected Chloe Cole after she detransitioned. She didn't fit their narrative. Anyone who's not familiar with Chloe Cole, is one of these far-right grifters who realized that there was a career to make in being a professional detransitioner and using that in order to fuck up healthcare for trans kids. Then student injects IQ serum to a school exams. More from Darman. So we got bunches of shit. What does everybody think? Anything grab your interest so far? How's everybody doing? Oh, there's also pretty girl uses nerd to go shopping. I don't know why you use a nerd to go shopping. I didn't realize that nerds played a major role in the shopping process. Maybe I've been doing it wrong all this time. But that's some more Darman crap. But let's see. Where shall we start out? Work to live or live to work, a PragerU short. Now, if you remember last week, we watched Batya Ungar Sargon of formerly of The Forward, where she eventually left after being too racist for a liberal Zionist publication, and who's decided that everybody's a Marxist except people who want communism. But this one's called Work to Live or Live to Work. I really can't wait to hear what a right-wing propaganda mill paid for by petrobillionaires has to say about this concept. So let's find out. Wrong answers only, chat. What do you think it's going to be about?
Do you work to live or do you live to work? Most people today would probably affirm the former, work to live. Most people would be wrong.
Okay, why would most people be wrong? I mean, like, literally, most people, if they aren't working for some capitalists, won't live for very long, so I have a feeling that maybe they actually do have a bit of a point, but, who the hell is David Bahnsen? I've never heard of this guy. American author. Team, the Bahnsen Group. David oversees the management of over $5.7 billion in client assets. He's a fund manager and television commentator. So, yeah, okay. What the fuck would he know about any of this? He doesn't work.
We should do both. Work to live and live to work.
So when are you going to start working?
We are meant to work. I'll go one step further. It's what we are designed to do.
What the fuck does that even mean? Like, first of all, what... you just gonna say that, and we're just gonna... This is PragerU, so he's not going to explain. Hello, River Rude.
If you have religious leanings, it's right there in the...
Wow, that is such a realistic Bible there. Like, they couldn't have had a fucking picture.
10 Commandments. 6 days you shall work, and then rest on the 7th, just as God did. If you don't have religious leanings, well, it's just common sense. A productive and meaningful life means spending more time working than doing anything else in your life.
Really? First of all, how did productive get in there? And second of all, let's just remember, this guy See, we're not so much working to live as we're working so that he will live. That's how how our work works. We work and he lives. Well, and guys like him, of course. I don't think he's got his hands in the assets of every place we might be working.
No other activity comes close.
Really?
Unless you count sleeping as an activity.
I do. I absolutely do. The bed is a wonderful fucking place. Bed is one of the greatest places in the world, and the world would do well to catch up with bed.
What one has to offer in skill, innovation, and productivity.
And, like, a strangely long neck and a really ill-fitting jacket.
That is, the work we do is central to who we are.
Why is he swaying?
Nothing is possible without it. All things are possible if you do it well.
Really? Oh, like what things? For example? Yeah, it does. It is giving a little bit of that very special work will set you free bullshit.
If you want to have a family, you have to work. If you want to own a home or give to charity, you have to work.
Well, I mean, technically, if you want to have a family, the main thing you have to do, I think, is fuck, actually. Although, I mean, we're usually born into them. I mean, barring, like, people who are orphaned at birth. So, technically, we have a family before we do any work at all, so I don't know that that necessarily follows.
Working is what responsible people do.
What the fuck does, like, so the idea is that it doesn't actually matter what the work is. I guess, I mean, I'm being unfair to this guy. He's a fund manager. What the fuck would he know about any of this? Work is what other people do in order to make line go up.
So then why does work get such a bad rap?
'Cause it sucks.
Why do movies and television portray ambition as an enemy of your health, your relationships, or just about anything else?
Well, first of all, I don't know that that's actually true. I think that ambition is often portrayed as, like, a heroic quality. But yeah, I think the reason that, to the extent that movies talk about how overwork fucks up people's health, their relationships, and much of everything else, I think that's because there are people involved in the creative process who've experienced work and know what it's like when you're working so many hours you never actually get to see the people you're in relationships with, where you're breathing in, fucking infectious air and it's fucking up your health. And of course, OSHA basically might as well not exist in this country for the number of inspections they carry out.
Yes, some use their careers as an escape from other serious responsibilities and obligations. But you can be fully committed to your work without letting it take over your life. I dare say you know people who have managed this. The far greater risk to our society.
Why do you dare say that?
Is the popular view of work as a chore that simply must be endured.
Wait, what did he say?
Society is the popular view of work as a chore that simply must be endured.
Well, yeah, but that's because the society also sucks. So what you're saying is we have to pretend that our shitty-ass jobs, that are totally unfulfilling and generally don't pay enough for most of us, actually don't suck, or society might be at risk because people will, I don't know, maybe seize the means of production and realize that if it weren't for all these rich fuckers sitting on top and skimming off, that we wouldn't have to work anywhere near this much.
Overachievement is not our problem. Deriding
Well, it's not your problem.
achievement is. We don't suffer from an epidemic of workaholism, but of noaholism. No.
What the hell? Noaholism? What is that is that if you're addicted to, like, non-alcoholic beer?
No passion, no purpose, and no plan.
Wow, I mean, these things feel so real to, passion, purpose, and plan. That is what you get when you're fucking stocking shelves at Sainsbury's. Or, like, the kind of jobs most people fucking have. I mean, this is actually really dark on a certain level, because remember, like, who are the people watching this? The people watching this are almost certainly more likely to be employing people than to be employed by people, is my guess. I have absolutely nothing to back that up on, other than I can't see anyone else necessarily putting up with this for very long. But, like, this just seems to fit in very much with a backlash to the way a lot of people realized, as a result of the pandemic that isn't over yet, that actually their bosses really did not give two shits about them, that in fact the entire ruling class didn't give two shits about their health, and said they needed to risk their lives in order to, like, fucking stock shelves at Sainsbury's or something like that. And so now, and people realize that actually, office workers realized that actually not being in the office was nice, because not only did they get more done, but they didn't have to deal with as much bullshit, and commercial real estate got really, really worried. So I think that is where this is coming from here. I mean, because I would imagine this guy's got a $5.7 billion portfolio he manages, according to a bio that he almost certainly wrote himself, or his people wrote for him. Commercial real estate's probably in there, is going to be my guess. It would be weird if it wasn't.
The best prescription for all three of these modern ailments is work. Like so much in modern life, it seems like we need to rediscover
it's the working cure again.
The traditional value our grandparents and great-grandparents simply took for granted.
What, you mean the grandparents and great-grandparents who went on epic strikes and pointed guns at bosses and occasionally, like, set rich people's houses on fire in order to get a weekend in an 8-hour day, and, got into big-ass fights with the cops and the National Guard over it? Like, which grandparents are we talking about? Maybe your grandparents are different, Bonson.
So let's take a step back and look at the value of work. Arthur Brooks, a prolific writer on the subject of happiness and a professor at Harvard,
so what?
Has coined the term earned success to describe the psychological lift that work creates. The feeling of not receiving something, but earning it.
Yes, it's called being a sucker.
This feeling is the basis of self-worth and deserved recognition.
Wow, so what the hell's this guy's name? David Bonson, like the cookies? David Bonson. You must feel really shitty because you haven't earned anything. You just have a whole lot of money, and you put the money out to pasture, and the money has children for you. Nothing you do involves your work. It's all other people's work. You must feel really shitty. But I mean, you see, I love how he's doing the common man thing where he's wearing the expensive suit, but he's not got a tie on because that makes him look relatable, I guess.
Achieve immense satisfaction from becoming valuable to others through our work. That's why it doesn't matter.
Maybe we're just, what if we're, like, valuable inherently, even if we're not making money for rich people? What if we have inherent value, David?
You're a truck driver or a bond trader. With purpose and hard work, whatever work you
yes, because a truck driver and a bond trader, that's totally the same thing.
do. You earn self-esteem and the esteem of others. A work...
You really think a lot... He's got some illusions about the esteem in which bond traders are held, I think.
This world is not a good world. Ideas like universal basic income completely ignore the value of work to the individual.
Well, if work is so valuable to the... Okay, first of all, this is wild. This is wild because universal basic income was invented as an idea by Milton fucking Friedman. The whole point of it is that you get rid of basically the entire welfare state to the extent one exists, And then you give people a certain amount of cash a month, and they're allowed to decide whether, this month they spend it on healthcare, this month they spend it on housing, or maybe next month it'll be food, and like maybe a couple months from now their kid will be able to go to school for a week or something like that. That's the idea. It was a way of privatizing social welfare provision. And see, when you will often see these like pilot studies and things. Yeah, I know this. I mean, this outfit is just given life of the party. Like, okay, then they will say, it turned out that our universal basic income pilot program was not a disincentive to work. Because we're supposed to think that it's a bad thing if it's a disincentive to work. They don't tell you what that means. But if you think about it for like half a minute, it's pretty clear. Hey Phoenix, how you doing? See, what they're saying when they say it's not a disincentive to work is that you can't live on it. The reason it's not a disincentive to work is that you would end up not being able to meet your basic cost of living on the universal basic income alone. Which is why we should never celebrate when it turns out something is not a disincentive to work. We need disincentives to work. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. We absolutely... Disincentives to work, apart from everything else, actually improve the bargaining power of the working class. Because they cut down on what's called the cost of job loss. See, guys like this Bonson here, the Bonson burner, their money depends very heavily on how afraid workers are of losing their jobs. Oh shit. That is bad. I hate these like auto pay things specifically for that sort of thing. I'm always very hesitant on it myself. Hey, Waldo, ¿cómo estás? That really sucks. So the thing is, the more you have to fear losing your job. That is a week from hell, Phoenix. God, I'm sorry. If you want to drop in the Discord your like fundraising links and stuff for mutual aid, and feel free. Go ahead and do that. That sounds like a very precarious situation you find yourself in. Which, to put it in the words of like a guy like David Bonson, this is what is... You have a big incentive to work. Isn't it wonderful to have such a big incentive to work that you're... By which just being completely and utterly fucked? So, yeah. But if it ignores the value of work to the individual, if work is valuable to the individual, then why wouldn't the individual be seeking it out even if they can meet their expenses? Like, I find when I'm actually on the rare occasion when I'm in a position where I can actually just take some time away from things and just do projects that matter to me, do work that I actually want to, that's a good thing. And in fact, I mean, if you actually, most people, if you actually paid all of their expenses so that they did not have to worry about it, did not need to go out to get some bullshit job, they would probably, take some time off and just relax, but eventually they would start doing stuff. They would, because you get bored, they would find things to do. It just wouldn't be things that capitalists necessarily want them to do. They would be doing things that are fulfilling to them.
They ignore the dignity derived from discovering and implementing a solution.
A solution to what?
Solving a problem.
What problem? Like, do you think that the only place that discovering and implementing solutions to unspecified problems happens is is in wage labor? Like, we're constantly discovering and implementing solutions to problems in our lives, just normally. just getting the fucking Roku to work consistently, despite the fact that there are 3 identical remotes to 3 identical Rokus in the house, for example, that is a problem you have to discover and implement a solution for. Why do you don't need a fucking job for that?
Collaborating with coworkers or meeting goals.
Oh, fuck them.
Obsession with video games, chronic drug and alcohol use, financial dependence on others. There is...
You're financially dependent on others, motherfucker. Why do you... Like, okay, you want to know how independent you are, David Bonson? Send everybody home. Just tell, keep paying them. Just tell them they don't have to come into work. All the people at the companies that you hold the assets of, that you have money in. And see how quickly your portfolio goes to shit.
There's no purpose, no meaning, and no dignity in these behaviors.
Then why do you think people do them? Why do you think people, this is a weird combination of things. Because only one of them, okay, chronic drug and alcohol use. What do you mean that has no meaning? I think it's not necessarily a great situation to be in if we're talking addiction, which he doesn't use the word for some reason. But I would not say it is meaningless. And I think that if there were no purpose in, games of any kind, that we wouldn't be doing them. I think the reason that people play games and like them is precisely because it includes, there is a purpose, there is a thing you're doing.
Worse, if you're not working, you're constantly reminded of your own inadequacy. Work solves this problem. Sadly, however, more and more people are choosing...
Sí, bueno, lo que pasa es que este weón vive del trabajo de otras personas. Este weón, si la clase obrera no trabaja, él no gana, él no come. Él es un parásito. Y por eso quiere que trabajemos todo el resto del mundo para aumentar su ganancia, para que él no tenga que trabajar nunca, weón.
Choosing not to work. The labor participation rate, those age 16 and over with a job or looking for a job, divided by the total population, is the lowest it has ever been, excluding the lockdown years.
I wonder if there's anything to do with the fact that huge numbers of people are in long-term disability, not that they can necessarily get benefits for it, because of the pandemic that we're supposed to be pretending doesn't exist. Maybe there's something to do with that. Maybe there's also the thing about looking for work is that not everybody who's looking for work actually counts when they talk about that. If you're long-term unemployed, at a certain point they no longer count you as technically looking for work, even though you need a job and you just can't find a decent one.
This rate sat around 66% from 1990 to 2008. Now it's closer to 60%. That's about 14 million more adults watching TV, playing video games, or engaged in other non-productive activities.
Well, what do you mean? Non-productive in the sense that they don't actually make money for capitalists. They may be very productive. I have a feeling that these statistics would, include me, because I'm a freelance translator, first of all, and I've also just not had any clients send me work in a very long time because the industry's just taken a big shit, although... Actually, maybe things are looking up there. I'm feeling somewhat more optimistic about that for the first time in a while, because I actually had a client who wasn't a scammer contact me, but I'm probably in there, and I do all sorts of fucking work, all sorts of very productive things. I've translated an entire fucking book, a book that had never been translated before by an author that is actually quite well known. It was forgotten because it had the same title as a pamphlet she wrote. That's the sort of non-productive activities that he's talking about here. I mean, the idea is that actually that we shouldn't enjoy ourselves because it doesn't make him money.
as opposed to experiencing the dignity of work. In the name of compassion,
dignity of
we are
work.
making it possible for many people to waste their lives away.
What the fuck are you talking about? The welfare state in this country got killed in the 90s.
This is not just counterproductive, it's immoral. Of course, for those in real need.
Wow, it is immoral. Like, look at this guy. He has nothing better to do than bullshit on PragerU videos. That is immoral. He needs the dignity of a real job. Somebody needs to teach him some real skills. He does not have any, including apparently how to tie a tie.
We should provide help, but we are doing a true disservice to our fellow citizens by making it easy not to work.
It isn't easy not to work, though, except in the sense that it's actually hard to find a good paying job.
The problem only grows worse with time.
I mean, he's talking about this as if there's a fucking... as if there's still a welfare state to speak of in this country. Like, I mean, out-of-work benefits are practically non-existent. They're temporary as hell. You can't live on them. Like, there's, I mean... Okay, there's like housing benefit possibly if you can wait around for years and years and years on a waiting list, and when you get it, it's probably going to suck. Like, I remember a local councilor in Chicago, when she got elected, she posted the letter her mother got from the housing authority. She had just been born when her mother applied to the housing authority for a subsidized flat, and they only just sent her a letter saying they'd found her one the day her daughter who had got elected. Yeah, I mean, like, what? Nothing. The only thing that is, I think, probably making it possible at this point for people not to work is just in this country is mostly just the mutual aid of others. And even that is just a really shitty way of thinking about it, because the reality is huge numbers of people are not able to work. Oh, I agree. We should absolutely enjoy ourselves at his expense on purpose. I am trying to do that myself.
The longer someone is out of the workforce, the less employable, the less marriageable, the less happy they become. It's just a fact. Human beings
it's just a fact, so we don't need to actually provide evidence.
Don't vegetate well.
Well, you seem to be vegetating fairly. I mean, if work is so great, why don't you do any?
In an ideal society, everyone is working. Everyone is productive.
Including you?
This is becoming a minority view. More and more, one hears about work-life balance. So while on the subject...
Wow, more and more. Like, that is a phrase that, like, was a thing, like, 10 years ago.
Here's a piece of advice for anyone looking for a job. Don't bring up work-life balance in a job interview.
No, lick those boots.
For most employers, that's a bright red flag.
Oh, well, that's funny, because I happen to like bright red flags, and I think it is true. The best bright red flags are the ones that make the employing class nervous.
It's just a euphemism for asking to work less, think about work less, or care about work less.
That's not a euphemism. Like, a euphemism is for something that's a bad thing. We should work less. We should care about work less. We should think about work less. The U.S., I mean, you could get the idea that the U.S., that there's absolutely no pressure to get work in the U.S. The reality is, in the industrialized world, the people in the U.S. work longer hours and get paid way less.
When we refer to a work-life balance, we are pitting life and work against each other.
Are we? I think that, like, shitty jobs and trying to enjoy life are inherently pitted against each other.
We are presupposing that one is not part of the other, that the two are to some degree at odds.
They are.
Work is at the very heart of the meaning of life. You should...
Then your life must be kind of meaningless. That must suck to be you.
Do it full-time. I'm David Bonson, author of Full-Time Work and the Meaning of Life.
Two things. Those are two things that I absolutely want to hear about from a fund manager. I mean, when I think about work and the meaning of life, There's just those are two things where you just got to get the opinion of a fund manager. Those motherfuckers know about the meaning of life.
Prager University. Thank you for watching this video. To keep PragerU videos free, please consider making a tax-deductible donation.
That's so ridiculous that shit is tax deductible. I mean, and let's just say they're never going to paywall that shit. Even if they were losing money on it, they wouldn't paywall it. Because nobody would pay money to watch it. But okay. So, we've got a lot of options here. We've got some Darman bullshit. We've got Graham Linehan remembers the horrible dead turf Magdalene Burns. We've got, let's see, we can continue with Don't Be Normal, Be Exceptional from Caleb Muppet. Transgender activist rejected Chloe Cole after she detransitioned from Pim Tool. Spoiled girl survives the strictest school. Or we've got some Destiny shit. Hassan lashes out. Calls DNC white supremacist and his own viewers Nazis. Sam Harris and Destiny discuss influencers they've debated. Oh god. Any particular preferences out there, chat? Yes, Density and Sam Harris. That's a short one, too. I'm kind of curious about that. Them, like, pretending to flex on the fact that they've debated people ignorantly. Here we go.
You and I debated at least a few of the same people. I've debated Jordan Peterson several times. You did that at least once. I think you've also spoken to Ben Shapiro. I'm not sure how we've overlapped with other people, but I think you've spoken to people who I would avoid. I'm wondering how you make these
Which was the first Density video? Yeah, I mean, and debating when the whole art of it is that you don't know anything about it and you're just trying to impress equally ignorant people in the audience, that is, I mean, there's nothing in that. I mean, and when you find yourself, like, when you find yourself, like, sitting there, like, sharing war stories with fucking Sam Harris, you need to reconsider your life. Okay. Here we go. This is the Hassan one.
That's just straight white supremacist bull, okay?
Yes. King, yes. White supremacy, yes.
White supremacy,
yeah,
come on.
Yeah, clip that. Yeah, because that's probably a more sincere take from fucking Density. Oh, good, good. And if anyone in here isn't in the Discord and would like to be, I'm gonna drop you that link right now.
Dude, that's a stretch.
With respect to the war in Gaza.
Oh no, Hassan's about to lose his mind. No matter what she says, it won't be good enough.
I'm out.
Well, yeah, it's not going to be good because she's committing genocide.
KK Kamala. Each die, you whore. Holy shit.
Get out of here? You think I'm your...
Well, I mean, we actually saw a video. There was a video we saw recently on this stream where Destiny was talking about how actually he doesn't give a fuck about any of the stuff he's debating about. He literally just doesn't care. And that I had gotten that impression. I was surprised to see him admit it so openly, because it's like he isn't debating abstract academic issues because he doesn't know of them. He doesn't know any of those. You know, it's always life and death shit, but it's life and death for people who aren't him. And so he doesn't care.
Enemy? Get out of here. Child. What do you mean, honestly?
If the parties continue to stray further apart, political polarization is literally going to kill our country.
Bro, cringe. Lay into this guy.
They're not straying farther apart. That is a bit... I mean, that's not what's been happening. There has been a relative movement, it's true, over the past few decades. It has not been apart.
Okay? No pragmatism here. Take him out, Hassan. Cannon loaded. It's execution time, okay?
Wow, yay, pragmatism.
Literally a Nazi. I don't know how to...
Yes!
You're just straight up a Nazi. Regardless of the accommodations, like, going to the DNC actually kind of, like, opened my eyes to a lot of things.
Oh, no.
Okay, for one, the fact that they, like, after all of this pressure, they were like, nah, we're not going to let any Palestinians speak. Get the out of here.
Yeah, I mean, and the wild thing about that is that the speech that this particular Palestinian that they didn't want to have talk was going to give, it was a dog shit speech. It was just total groveling. It was nothing to do with the genocide. No, like, demands were made. No pleas to actually, you know, let Gaza live, which is very much up for debate, you know, very much in the balance. Yeah, I mean, it was a pathetic speech. And even that was too much. You know, they had, like, multiple anti-immigrant sheriffs and anti-choice Republicans up there, but they couldn't have one fucking Palestinian.
Here.
That's like the most obvious thing in the universe. That's the most obvious thing. It would be like letting a cop speak at an Antifa rally. Like, yeah, no shit, Sherlock. The Hamas chants, the Houthi slogan signs, the insane, all the sloganeering.
Wait, did he just say that the Democrats letting a Palestinian speak would be like Antifa letting a cop speak? I mean, the thing is, I like have my doubts that that's what he was trying to say, precisely because I would not expect him to acknowledge that. Hey, Rotten Mouse. Yeah, and the uncommitted movement is just basically, at this point, committed to recuperation. Like, that was kind of a useful way of trying to put some pressure. To put some pressure on to say, you know, if you want anyone to vote for your re-election, you have to actually stop committing genocide or whatever. That made sense then, but it's just been led into... It's gone nowhere now. Because now without even actually exacting any kind of concession, they're just full-throatedly supporting the person they acknowledge is committing genocide.
You with the Houthi interviews, like, what? Yeah, what do you think? Like, well, okay, well, can you just let one of us? Can you just let one of us on stage come and just like, well, you could vet us for? Yeah, no.
He's talking to. Wait, is he saying? Does he? What? He's saying like all Palestinians interview members of Yemen's Ansar Allah movement. What is he even talking about? Like Hassan's point was that they did not allow a single Palestinian to speak. It's worth noting that that honor was shared with trans people who also did not get a place on the stage, you know, despite also being subjected to a massive attack, but one that they probably don't want to dwell on over at the DNC because the Democrats haven't done shit about it.
You guys acted like insane people. Why the would you ever expect to have a seat at the table with the grown-ups? How would an unfathomably crazy state... That would be like...
When he's talking about a specific Palestinian American elected official who was a member of the fucking party. Like, does he think all Palestinians are like Hassan, who isn't even Palestinian?
Like me being indignant that Barack Obama and Biden won't sit down with me for an interview because you're mad.
They probably would, though. And he would probably fucking want a commemorative plate, sell like merch for the occasion. Oh, damn it. How'd that happen? Sorry about that. Chat is apparently rebooting itself.
Mad at some tweets? Really? Come on. Okay? Who cares? You guys are old, alright? We've all a few kids in a video game. Come over in a video game. Hello.
Ah, there we go.
In Call of Duty. Alright?
They were like, no, sorry, we have a f***ing cop who literally was doing DIY, like sex trafficking operations and investigations with a right-wing nut job.
Wait, what?
I mean, I hadn't heard that. But, I mean, there was like 2 anti-immigrant sheriffs.
Did I miss the sex trafficking training course? Hello? I don't know, they invited Andrew Tate to speak.
Job. Okay? That guy has to speak. We have a former Trump Republican that is like an MSNBC fan favorite. That guy has to speak. If you're like a lifelong Democrat that happens to be Palestinian, you know what I mean? Sorry. Sucks.
Yeah, at a time when Palestinians are being genocided by the U.S. government.
You ain't got It's so racist. It's so f***ing gross. It's so disgusting.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. It is what it is. That's just straight white supremacist ass bull. Okay?
It is.
Yes.
I mean, you really...
King. Yes. White supremacy. Yes, it is. Yes. Yes. Kamala, Kami Mommy, come on stage and talk to me, and then Obama could come afterwards, and then Oprah. We can all talk about white supremacy. Yes. Yeah.
Like, does he think about the words that come out of his mouth?
Yes.
You can dress it up any way you want. That's American chauvinism right there. That's
it is dressed up. Thank God. I'm glad they got the blacks here.
I mean, you see, again, you just really totally see this fucking... Sí, a este no le importa nada. Ni una wea. Habla de puras weas que no le incumben, que no entiende. Y... por eso que, weón, tiene cara de sociópata, weón. Like, I mean, he clearly... It's like, to people who aren't just, like, evil... The fact that there are 2 million people at risk of being murdered in the next couple of months, and that risk is increasing day by day, might make it seem like it would be appropriate to maybe hear from some of them. But Destiny doesn't give a shit about anything because he's not Palestinian. Why does he give a fuck if there are Palestinians still alive?
To save us
he's
from our white
vile.
supremacist guilt. Thank God. Hell yes.
Western chauvinism.
You know, that's the only reason they have the blacks at this event, right? Is to just save us from our white supremacist guilt.
That is bullshit, okay? That's grossest. It's racist as... It doesn't matter if the candidate is black. It's still in white supremacy through and through,
Yeah.
okay?
I know
mean-
he didn't just appropriate the black woman sassy clap. Did he just...
I mean, this is actually this is worse than I thought it was going to be, because he, you know, it's bad enough when he's like trying to make like genocide denialist arguments from a position of utter ignorance and complete apathy for the human consequences. But here, he's just, all he's doing is like bad one-liners, for fuck's sake.
Just do that? Oof. Somebody better talk to him.
The Democratic Party said tonight and the day prior, we got billionaires. We're going to bring them on the center stage.
They did.
We got former Trump Republicans. We're going to bring them onto the center stage. Okay? We got psycho f***ing cops. We're going to bring them on. What? Hassan unironically said this?
Yes. That is very true.
What?
This is so awesome. Celebrities are usually stupid and lame, but then when they say things that I agree with, they're actually so real and based.
No, the thing is, I mean, he says that like it's ironic, but it is very clearly what he really thinks.
It's fucking ridiculous, dude. You got Pizzagate cops and shit out there who are, you got Border Patrol guys being like, yeah, we're gonna.
Does Hassan want Kamala to lose? What's the point of this grandstanding? He's a tanky. Tankies don't give a happens for the political system because most of them are insulated. 99% of them are insulated.
You motherfucker, you talking about people who don't give a fuck about what happens because they're insulated? You're the poster child of not giving a fuck about what happens because you're insulated. That is your whole thing.
From any of the actual stuff that happens on the political level, because they tend to be affluent, they tend to be white, they tend to live in like decent communities where everything's already taken care of for them.
I mean, it's so cute that he's got these stereotypes just sort of made up that he just uses. Like, first of all, we have to just pretend that tanky is at this point a coherent term. It used to be. It used to have a very specific meaning that liberals got their hands on it. Now it doesn't mean shit. Now you can get called a tanky for pointing out that what the U.S. does to other countries is not good. For just pointing out things like that the U.S. murdered several million people in Vietnam.
So it doesn't matter one way or another who the president is. So all they have to really talk about are kind of like the pet issues that are important to them. So like Israel,
you know, whether Palestinians survive, for example. Yeah, I like how he seems to think that the pet, you know, these are just pet issues and stuff like that, as opposed to concern for the horrible shit that is going on in this deeply fucked up society, and that mostly kind of stays the same from one government to the next.
Sign will be an important issue. They don't actually give anything that happens.
Ojalá un T-72 le caiga en la cabeza, weón. O incluso tan solo una de esas tanquetitas de carabinero, weón.
None of the other domestic policies matter. They just like you find your pet issue, and then this is the thing that you fixate on to separate yourself from the unwashed.
Like, I mean, he debated so many leftists. You would think that, like, just by osmosis, a little bit of understanding of where leftists are coming from might have rubbed off on him by accident, and no, he's managed it absolutely no trace. It's left absolutely no trace on him. He is none the wiser.
Masses.
Up the migrants, and we're putting them on the center stage, but you don't got a fucking moment for Palestinian Americans? You don't got a fucking moment for Palestinian Americans, dude?
Well, of course not, because they're doing this whole bullshit around a joyful politics, which is not at all out of touch. Because, I mean, if there's one thing that people feel as, you know, society kind of collapses around them, and, yeah, fascism is very much on the rise, and there's basically no one in the political class who seems all that worried about it. And as there's a pandemic that's in its, like, 5th year, it's, you know, old enough to enter school now, except it's been in school all along, so it's fucking up the kids, which is great. And there's genocide going on as well at the same time, and guys, and then there are motherfuckers like this, like Destiny, whose entire thing is they go on the internet, don't give a shit about it, sound very confident while they say ignorant things, all in order to tell people that they don't need to give a fuck about things that matter, because he doesn't give a fuck about anything and it hasn't hurt him. I actually forgot where I was going with that, but because this is just so exasperating.
That's crazy. That's unacceptable. That's white supremacy, okay?
Yeah, for sure.
Well, what are you going to act like that's such a weird thing to say? Like, they literally had a bunch of fucking out-white supremacists on the stage and specifically refused to have a Palestinian on there, even to give a vetted speech that didn't even do the bare minimum of, like, demanding the genocide end or even acknowledging it's going on. And you're gonna pretend that there's absolutely nothing racist about that, are you, Destiny?
If money is evil, then that building is hell. This is the most obnoxious group of money-hungry, low IQ, high energy, jackrabbit, fucking wannabe, big-time, small-time, shit-talking, bothersome, irritating bunch of motherfuckers I have ever had to endure for more than 5 minutes.
White supremacy? Come on, dude. That's a stretch. Listen up.
It's a stretch? Okay. Okay, so he's going to elaborate on this, although it seemed pretty obvious to me, because they had a bunch of white supremacists on the stage, and then refused to allow Palestinians.
Big dog, I used a different terminology there for your fucking stupid ass brain to handle, okay? I'm using white supremacy so your fucking dumb mouth breathing ass can understand the words that are coming out of my mouth. It's called American jingoism, okay? It's Western chauvinism. Do you understand what is happening here?
Western chauvinism?
I've literally never heard anyone pronounce chauvinism that way.
Chauvin's literally in jail for killing Floyd. What the?
What did he just say?
Is happening here?
Western chauvinism? Chauvin's literally in jail for killing Floyd.
Fucking Destiny doesn't know what chauvinism is. He thinks chauvinism was named after the guy who murdered George Floyd, as opposed to George Floyd's murderer having a surname that he shares with the guy who the term chauvinism was named after. Destiny literally does not know what chauvinism is. Holy shit.
Dan, what is happening here?
Western chauvinism? Chauvin's literally in jail for killing Floyd. What the f are you talking about?
Do you get what the Democratic Party is also playing a role? Do you understand what the Democratic Party there is doing when they say we don't give a f if you're Palestinian?
Esto me impresiona. Es insólito. Este weón se las da de gran intelectual que sale a discutir con profesores, con especialistas y weá, sobre temas que él no conoce ni un pelo. Y no sabe lo que es el chauvinismo, weón. No sabe lo que es el chauvinismo. Cree que el chauvinismo lleva el nombre de ese Paco chuche su madre.
Shut the f up, okay? If you're a goddamn Palestinian, here are all the other people that are more important for us than you.
Yeah.
Okay? Literally every
It's
single
not,
person
it wasn't a subtle message.
in the Democratic Party's infrastructure, and then people outside of that infrastructure, cops, border patrol agents, billionaires that are not even in the Democratic Party. You're a lifelong Democrat. You spent your whole time, you spent your whole goddamn life fighting for the Democratic Party. You're a fucking state, you're a part of the state apparatus in your own goddamn state, okay? And they say, F you, you're Palestinian. We don't want to hear from you, okay?
You you guys are literally outside protesting the event. Like, you can't have a storm of
No, he isn't outside protesting the event. He's actually been he actually was briefly given a hotel room in which to cover the event.
insane protests and riots and, you know, just like shitting and pissing and crying and coming in your own mouths for months and months, and then at the end be like,
yeah, that's what actually paying attention as a genuine like member of humanity and giving a fuck about what's being done to people in Gaza and now increasingly the West Bank as well. It's like coming in your own mouth, basically. It's just one orgasm after another over here. Yeah, I mean, absolutely right. That absolutely no notes. He's got it. He totally got the vibe there. That is what it's like. No creo, porque él ríe de su propio chiste.
Okay, can we have a seat at the table now? Can we come talk? Can we come talk now? No. Like, I talked with Dan about this last night. This is...
How do you think these things work? How do you think people who don't have a seat at the table get a seat at the table, Destiny? Do you think that it's just something that's awarded for them for, like, being quiet? Is that how that works? You just sort of sit there quietly and allow yourself to be totally ignored and shat on, and eventually somebody gives you a seat at the table?
What's happening is the worst case scenario, by the way. This is, if you are an outsider...
Okay, chat, what is his worst case scenario?
If you're a radical, the worst case scenario is not that your party ignores you and loses. It's that your party...
We're not talking about radicals. We're talking about literally a member of the Palestinian ethnicity. That's it. We're not talking about anyone radical. We're talking about a fucking Democrat who was elected to, I think, like the Georgia state legislature. I forget exactly. And the speech that she was giving was not at all radical. Like, does this guy not it's like he actually missed the entire thing and does not understand that there's a difference between a supporter of Palestinian rights and a person who is actually Palestinian? Like, does he not understand that, along with, like, where the word chauvinist came from?
He ignores you and wins, because now you've lost all your leverage. Like, oh, he won elections without you. Well, have fun out in the cold, I guess, because who the is going to listen to you now? You've lost everything. Like, you deserve this. This is the gamble that you made.
Yeah, you deserve this for wanting to get the U.S. to spare the lives of 2 million people.
Like, yeah.
Suck my... There's no way to... There is no way to look at this in any other lens, okay?
Worried about a secure retirement for themselves.
Bullshit.
Can I ask you... Hi, can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Why are you flying a Hezbollah flag?
Because I support Hezbollah, Hamas, the PLO. I support China, Russia.
Okay, this guy, like, the PLO he includes in there, this guy sounds like he's out of nowhere, like, because that's, like, I mean, that's totally what, like, Palestinian solidarity activists are constantly talking about in 2024, not 1980, is how we're so excited about the PLO. Like, you don't even hear about the fucking PLO. I don't know who the hell this guy is, with his little, adorable little dog, I will say that, but it seems rather convenient. It seems a bit odd that he would be talking like this.
I support North Korea. I don't support Iran.
This can't be real. Okay, this is a...
Yeah, it does not seem real to me. Okay, like a small number of points for even fucking Destiny's bullshit meter going off on this one. Because who the fuck talks about the PLO?
Right? He's even got the fucking Pomeranian. This is a meme, right?
North Korea. I don't support
Iran. Terror proxies?
Because America is a terrorist state.
I mean, it
so
is.
Israel.
Well, you can disagree with American foreign policy, but this is literally a flag of a terrorist state.
Well, I mean, so's the U.S. flag.
No neo-Nazi.
I'm pro-Palestine, and I would never...
Oh, is that fake shields? Oh, okay, let me check. Let me see. I don't think I've ever seen a picture of this guy. Is that the same guy? I don't know. Okay, but that just looked like bullshit. Like, first of all, you're gonna say you support Hamas and the PLO? You realize that they're actually kind of a little bit at odds with each other? Because, I mean, like, that's not to say... This guy, I think somebody just said in his chat that the guy's an actual Nazi, which is making me think maybe it was Jake Shields, but I was looking at a picture of Jake Shields and it doesn't look like him.
And you deserved it. You found the most based guy.
Oh, well, Partisan Girl
Maybe you
likes
said
him.
your
That's a pretty good sign that he's probably a Nazi.
Neutrally, as in your tweet. You already judged him. Why should he speak to anyone who does that?
Fly that
Well, Kamala's a fascist. You're
what
a fascist.
do you know about Hezbollah?
You're a fascist.
What do you know about Hezbollah?
Yeah, no, I don't buy it. Like, nobody who's going to a protest with this level, the level of violence that has been visited on Palestinian solidarity protests in the U.S. in the past several months is going to bring their cute little dog. Because that dog is going to get hurt, and if you get arrested, what's going to happen to that dog? Like, this is bullshit. This whole thing has got to be a setup.
What do you know about Hezbollah?
If they kill Americans who occupy countries they shouldn't be in.
Ooh, we got bad languages. Not good. You seem like a major bootlegger. Liquor. Sorry.
Well, I guess you would know about bootlickers.
Jesus. He meant fashionable. I mean, you got destroyed. Why would you post a video that makes you so obviously look bad? Hezbollah is not a terrorist group. How many of these are bots?
First grade teacher would show
no.
law school graduation.
Do you think she even brought up Palestine when she was in grade school?
Motherfucker, like, you do... The thing is, he does actually know that there's a reason that people are particularly concerned about Palestine right now, because he did do a whole thing where he surrounded himself with people who actually know about the subject. One of whom was two of them cringe as fuck, one of them a nasty racist ghoul, one on each side of the issue, it's worth noting. But, so he knows that the issue is the whole genocide that he denies, and he's pretending like there's no particular reason anyone would be especially concerned about Palestine right now. I'm like, fucking hell.
I don't get the not black attacks. If you're half black, can't you call yourself black? The nice thing about being a half black.
Oh, wow, Destiny's gonna get into some one-drop rule shit.
The nice thing about being a halfie, about being a mixed person, is everybody can hate you for whatever reason they want. That's the amazing thing, all right? If you're mixed, your pure bloods will hate you for not being pure enough, and white people will always hate you for not being white, so...
Speaking of white supremacism, like, listen to this shit. The pure bloods, motherfucker?
You get to reign in the best of all worlds. Do you know how tough my life has been as a Cuban American and all the Hispanic discrimination that I faced? Every single day when I'd show up to gym tired because I was busy working in the cornfields for the entirety of the last night up till 4 a.m. to help feed my family, and people were like, oh, look, here's Esteban. He's sad today because it's not swim class in gym because that's the only thing this Cuban can do. They didn't call me a Cuban. They said other words that I can't repeat. Every single day I got that. And then when I went to hang out with my Cuban friends, they would call me a sellout white devil.
Like, his Cuban friends seem pretty based.
I'm sorry. I'm done. I'm trying to remember to the left shit. I don't
But
know.
that sounds actually like possibly he just made all that shit up.
Obama in similar ways back in 2008. Radicals didn't show up. Radicals weren't just... There were no radical people at school in 2008. I don't know why. Where were...
Really? You don't... He didn't... Okay. Oh, at school, he said. I forget. This motherfucker, in addition to being a twat, is also a young twat.
I feel like you're the Ron Paul fans. Were there far left people in America?
Yes, motherfucker, we were there. And we were pointing out that Obama was not the guy that Democrats were trying to convince liberals he was. And it was an absolutely painful couple of years because the level of cult mentality that time, I mean, I can't decide whether it's worse now or was worse then, but it was bad. Like, people did not want to hear what Obama actually said he wanted to do because they had created this fantasy Obama who was going to do all the things they wanted him to do. And they would get really, really angry at people who would just point out, well, he said he doesn't want to do that.
There must have been. Where were they? Why don't I remember any of them?
Oh, remind me, Riveroon.
Maybe they existed, but because I was a Republican, all the left was far left to me in 2008. I was a.
I mean, I don't think that's actually seems to have changed. You still don't seem to understand that there are different ideologies to the left of you. You literally managed to learn absolutely nothing from talking with a whole lot of people who did try to explain this stuff to you.
On Paul Stan, I probably actually thought Obama was a communist. So,
I guess we can call it progress that he understands communism enough now that he knows Obama isn't one.
Yeah, who knows? Yeah, there also is no Twitter, so who the f knows? Oh!
Well, 2009 there was Twitter. That's when I got on Twitter.
Oh, true, actually, maybe. I bet you could study that. People had other identities, like emo and punk, and they were...
He thinks that emo and punk were something that existed before people started to have political ideologies? Wow, we're learning so much about his view of world history. First, he thinks the term chauvinism comes from Derek Chauvin, the fucking prick in Minneapolis. Like, the one cop who had to, like, expiate all their sins. The one is so that the U.S. can say, look, we held this one guy actually accountable. So, obviously, that's all we need to do about cops murdering people. And now he's saying that people didn't used to, that people got political ideologies when they got sick of being emo and punk. Like, also, apart from everything else, I don't know. I don't think that actually works because I know a lot of emo punk combos these days.
There were scene kids and stuff like that, but you didn't have to do like politics. You just had like you might have been like a little sceney or whatever. You didn't have to have a political belief. Now,
well, maybe that's because, I mean, what were you, like 12? I don't know how old this guy is. But maybe, see, one of the things that most people kind of realize as they get older is that they were oblivious to a whole lot of shit that was going down when they were kids. I mean, unless, of course, they're in a situation where it's impossible to be totally oblivious. Like, I would say, for example, little kids in Gaza probably are not getting a whole lot of that blessed obliviousness, though there are some absolutely fucking heroic grown folks there who are doing everything they can to try to give them a little bit of it at least. But the thing is, then you get older and you realize, actually, there was all sorts of shit going on when I was 9 that I didn't even know about because I was busy being 9. He, on the other hand, literally thinks that if he was unaware of it when he was 12, that's because it didn't happen.
Every label you have it has to be political and trans, apparently. Like so maybe it's, yeah, now now all of those groups also, right? You might go to, I don't know, never mind, actually I don't want to make assumptions, but they're all like, everything is so much more political these days. Everybody's supposed to have opinions about fucking every single political issue.
Well, no, not everybody. It would be fine if you didn't, for example, because your opinions suck shit and you don't know anything.
If you're part of any like subculture, I don't know why. It's cringe. Why do you call the Supreme Court Justice Lady Amy instead of her surname? She has a weird, it's not a good surname. It's a masculine first name. It's just weird. Hey, it's Barrett. What? Does she have a gun grafted onto her arm? What do you mean, Barrett? It's Amy. Okay.
Does he mean Beretta? Yes, he said that like everybody has to have two labels. One is political and the other is trans. Unlike back when he was 12 years old and there wasn't politics yet, because he hadn't heard about it. And now he thinks that Barrett is the same thing as he thinks Barrett is a kind of gun, and the only thing I can think is that he thinks it's a Beretta? Like, wow, this is like the fucking ignorama. This guy is currently making Tim Pool look eloquent.
You're always worried?
You need to kick that door down.
Nah.
What the did she just say the F word? So does someone like us on support if it isn't Kamala? Why does this mouse have so many problems? Yeah, I don't know, whoever can't win. You always, if you're a radical, you always have to support people who can't win because you can never ever.
Well, no.
Ever win because you have nothing left to complain about.
Yeah, that's exactly why. Because obviously we're not fighting for anything. We just want to complain about things.
Worst thing you could ever do is support somebody that could ever be popular enough to win. So just
wait. So the idea is that if you support somebody who wins, that automatically means they're going to do the things you want to do? Is that how he thinks that works? Like, I mean, I would have thought that the idea is that if you have certain objectives, if you have certain beliefs, if you have certain ideas for what you want to have happen in society, that you would want to back organizations and people and actions that are about making that happen. But now he's revolutionized political thinking right here. See, the idea is you just latch on to whoever's polling the best, and that will somehow magically turn them into somebody who's going to do all the stuff you want them to do, even though they don't support any of that.
just find whoever it is that has no shot in hell of winning that vaguely resembles your policy positions and support those people. That's it.
Wow, that's so weird that they want to support people who actually agree with them rather than people who diametrically oppose the things they stand for.
Oh, what happens to the Palestinian families never happens to your bitch-ass family, okay? That's not even what I'm talking about. But his racist ass immediately went, the Palestinians won't win us. That's not what I'm talking about.
And the thing is, actually, the thing is, if you actually look at the polls, the reason that Biden, for example, went from being dead set against a ceasefire and just flatly saying no when people would ask him, to saying that he was, but to redefining the term in order to say he was for it while at the same time opposing it. The reason that they did that is because the position, their actual position on Gaza, i.e. in support of the genocide, in support of making the genocide that they could stop at any time happen, is toxic waste, and was making them extremely unpopular, and they were trying to somewhat do a bit of damage control by coming up with a position that the unwary will think is similar to what they're actually, to what everybody's demanding, but without it actually being that. Like, the whole reason that's the whole reason there was this shift. Like, Biden, I mean, if Biden had suddenly come around to the idea of ending the genocide would be over. So all he actually did was make a superficial change, and like the entire Democratic Party with him made this superficial change where they're saying, yeah, we want a ceasefire, by which we mean a humanitarian pause, and first the Palestinians need to surrender and give up all of their means of self-defense, completely disarm, and be perpetually occupied, and we will allow them to call it a state, maybe.
Yeah, because why would we think that you were talking...
Oh, hey, McNoided. This was in your recommended because I bribed YouTube. That's right, I actually went to YouTube and I handed them a big suitcase full of what they might have thought was money, but since I don't really have a whole lot of that, it probably wasn't. And I said, you need to recommend my stream to a guy called McNoided that I've never heard of. That's why it was in your recommended.
talking about Palestinians when you were earlier complaining about a lack of Palestinian speakers, and then white supremacy. Why would we think about that? True. What an idiotic chatter. Good ban, Hassan. I hate streamers that fucking ban chatters just for disagreeing with them. That's why we have this is why we live in a ban-free zone in my chats. I've never banned a chatter.
I'm guessing that's bullshit.
Ever. For lodging a simple disagreement in chat. Ever. Hassan is a fragile child who's fat.
Which you'll fight for every day.
Yeah, of course I'm gonna permaban him.
Of course.
Loser. True. Democrats are so lucky that they're running against a party that has like forgotten how to fucking run for office, okay?
It's kind of hard to talk about this without it being a little weird.
Well, I mean, a little weird would be an improvement on your performance so far, Stephen Boner.
But like, so one interesting thing is black culture drives a lot of world culture. Because by virtue of it being American and by...
Oh, good. I was really hoping that we've heard so many of his really well-informed and not at all bizarre and bullshit ignorant opinions. I was really kind of hoping that he would tell us some of his deep thoughts about black culture. Because if there's one person I want to hear talk about black culture, it's fucking Stephen Boner.
By virtue of America having like loud culture, like black culture drives so much stuff, especially in terms of music. It is kind of cool since we have like a black future president, okay, hopefully, that you can capitalize on a lot of the, because like a lot of the black music and the black, like the gospel-y stuff and like all of that aesthetic is a lot more hype than like the country music aesthetic. No offense to my country music fans out there, but since we have a black lady, we can really
Jesus Christ, I mean, this just gets better and better. God, this creepy motherfucker. Holy shit, this is impressive. McNoided, why is a like bottom set of teeth in your profile picture? I'm just wondering. That's I don't know. Maybe it's a thumbnail. I can't actually. Maybe I'm not actually seeing the whole thing as a result of that. But it's like it looks like it's a dentist's eye view, and that's a choice. But anyway, it's about time for me to wrap up. Thank you to everyone who joined. I hope you enjoyed the stream. And I will be back tomorrow at 11:30 p.m. U.S. Eastern Time. And if you're in the Discord, Phoenix has dropped their their information for like mutual aid and stuff like that. Help if you can. Definitely help Phoenix out. It seems like a really shitty situation. I think I might actually drop a little something because I've actually had a better week than I was expecting. A better week than I've had in a very long time, actually, which isn't saying a whole lot. But anyway, there we are, and I will see you tomorrow at 11:30 p.m. U.S. Eastern Time. Until then, good night, good luck, and fuck Stephen Boner III. Ciao.